Hey guys, Eric here. I'm going to do a spoiler-free quick review of Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins. This is a complete reboot of the G.I. Joe films. Last one we got was the Dwayne Johnson-led softer reboot that was G.I. Joe Retaliation. This is the third G.I. Joe movie, though, and I am beginning to suspect, sadly, that we may never get a great G.I. Joe movie. And I mean that, sadly. I think it's a shame because I grew up loving this world. I love the animated series. I especially love the comic books. I think there's a lot of potential there. It just hasn't been paying off in these films. We have not gotten an awesome G.I. Joe movie, and the third time is not the charm, unfortunately. Snake Eyes, not shockingly, focuses on the character Snake Eyes. This is an origin movie in which Henry Golding plays the title character. We meet him. He's already a martial arts expert, but then he is taken under the wing of Tommy, who owes Snake Eyes his life and brings him to his family home, which, guess what, turns out to be a badass ninja academy. Snake Eyes begins these trials to kind of prove he can become a student at the academy, all while Snake Eyes and Tommy's old criminal boss makes his way over to Japan as well. He has his own nefarious purposes, and he teams up with a woman called the Baroness, who is a representative of a group called Cobra. So, look, Snake Eyes is clearly meant to relaunch the G.I. Joe films from the ground up and do it kind of in a more grounded way for the most part. They're just using a handful of recognizable characters. They're giving it this martial arts backdrop, begin building the world around Snake Eyes. So we get glimpses of Cobra here throughout the film, and we also get Samara Weaving as Scarlet, and she's kind of there to represent the G.I. Joe team, give you the idea that they're out there somewhere fighting a fight we could see in future films. The thing is, the script is fairly pedestrian. It's at times silly, but I really think that can be okay sometimes for a film like this. What I really think hurts this movie, honestly, is the direction. I enjoyed the Bruce Willis movie Red that he directed, but director Robert Schwentke's resume also has a lot of duds like Flight Plan and R.I.P.D., and I think, unfortunately, Snake Eyes falls into that category. There's a couple of cool visuals. There's a rooftop fight you might have glimpsed in the trailers where they're kind of backed by red neon. I also think the movie makes good use of the Japan setting. Some of it was shot in Japan. Some of it was the Canadian wilderness. It all looks very pretty. But I don't think the movie ever really comes to life. There's not a lot of energy to it, and especially nothing that you'd want from a martial arts movie, much less a G.I. Joe movie. And I think a big problem here is the fight scenes, because once again, martial arts movie, you want those to really click in, and it just doesn't. They use a lot of shaky cam, which I know some people are turned off by automatically, but I think, hey, it can be used really well. The Bourne movies were shaky cam fights. They still were cool fights. But that, on top of the fact that there's a lot of quick cutting, and all that adds to the fact that you don't really see these martial arts fights play out in the way you want to. That should be the spotlight of this movie, especially because they're not focusing on the whole G.I. Joe team. These are supposed to be basically the greatest warriors on Earth fighting against one-on-one against each other, but none of it ever really pops. I mean, there are some fight scenes I thought were fine in the movie, and, a couple fun stunts, but nothing that really stands out in the way that I wanted to come out of this movie thinking, yeah, Snake Eyes, he himself and these other ninja warriors are amazing. It's okay. It's easy to wonder if they'd ever commit to scarring Snake Eyes' face and making him mute and permanently putting a mask on him like the character traditionally is. In the meantime, while we can wonder about that, Henry Golding, with his very handsome face, he's a very charming guy. He's a very likable presence, and I like his performance in this movie. He definitely holds the screen. I think the strongest thing in this movie is the dynamic between Snake Eyes and Tommy, who is, of course, is destined to become Storm Shadow, legendary G.I. Joe character in his own right. Andrew Koji is, I think, really strong as Tommy. There's a nice dynamic between the two of them, this sort of brotherly bond, backed also by some competition. And, it's, if you go in as a fan, you're always, of course, waiting for the other shoe to drop. I think it is a nice element of the movie. I just wish there was even more of that. Overall, Snake Eyes kind of feels like a big missed opportunity. Samara Weaving, who I love in movies like Ready or Not and Mayhem. I don't think she's given a lot to do here, but kind of Glower has Scarlet, who just kind of pops in and out. There is some backstory hinted at with Ursula Cobera as the Baroness, but they don't really give it enough time to have it have any weight. There's kind of some things that develop in the very last act about those characters that don't land at all because we don't really know them enough to care at that point. This is a problem throughout the movie, though. I kind of feel a rushed aspect to it. Snake Eyes goes to train with Tommy's family, But we don't actually see a lot of training. We see a lot of trying to pass these trials, but the training should be very important to his development to see him become the ninja warrior is. And I kind of feel that's kind of pushed to the side. Would I want to see more of this incarnation of G.I. Joe, which clearly Snake Eyes is setting up to do more? The cast is not the problem, so I'd be up for seeing more of them. But I think it would take another kind of overhaul behind the scenes, just like we saw the first time when that first sequel changed a lot. And both those movies are just kind of okay. They're fun. I thought the second was stronger than the first, but this one, this third tryout, once again, I just felt like, man, it could have been so much more. It could have been so much more fun, and it could have been just more exciting as a martial arts movie. I think that's the thing I kept coming back to. So if they do this again with this cast, and I guess that'll depend on the box office, they'll need to make a lot of changes because I think they deserve better. Ultimately, I am giving this movie just 2 out of 5 stars. G.I. Joe, I love you, and hopefully one day you will get a movie worth loving as well, since you do deserve it. Thanks, guys, and we'll be back with more here at Fandom.